Hello, my name is Raven, and for those of you who have been following me for a while, you know that every holiday season I make a new video for the holidays. Um, this year I actually did not feel like making a video because I've been so emotionally drained dealing with watching my own community just being so ravaged and devastated. First with the mass shooting in Thousand Oaks, and then immediately, literally hours later, the wildfires starting, which have just brought unprecedented devastation to the community that I love. And it's just really ripped my heart out, and it's been really, it's beyond words. To watch the people that I love one after another losing everything they have, and then on top of that, just to see, it's strange, it's like I've never been simultaneously so inspired by the courage of brave people, and at the same time so disgusted and shocked and stunned by the flippancy and the lack of compassion that I see in some comments. Just really mind-boggling to me. I don't understand how people can be so insensitive, and everyone can definitely do something at this time to help others. And I think for some people, the more I read comments, some people, the best contribution they could make is probably just to be quiet. The comment that says, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. I think some people could really take that to heart. So that being said, this is going to be really short, because if you want to know my thoughts and feelings on what I have called in the previous years the Holiday Orphan video, where I talk about the importance of caring about the people around us in the community and being aware of the struggles people are going through around you. For me and my personal circle of friends and community right now, it's taken on a whole new level of meaning in the last 2 weeks between all this devastation that is ongoing. My church did a trauma recovery training last Sunday, and it seemed like really basic common sense things. You would think these basic things that they go over, but I'm going to read this because I really want to believe that if people actually knew how hurtful they were being with their unknowingly insensitive, unhelpful, annoying comments, I think they would make better choices in their comments to us. So first of all, I'm going to define kind of a little bit of what happens to a person in a traumatic event. And as with all my videos, if you are not interested in learning how to be more sensitive and more compassionate and helpful, and if you just want to make snarky comments and make light of people's pain and suffering, then this is not for you. So, don't waste your time watching this. This is going to be quick, but if you want to know how to be more helpful to people and to actually say things that are helpful and be of service, then I'm going to go over this real quick. So, really good information here. So it says, what happens to a person in a traumatic event? There is always some sort of loss that occurs in a traumatic event, such as a natural disaster, terrorism, violence, etc. A person may experience the loss of a loved one, their home, their health, or lose the sense of security and predictability that once directed their daily routine. In a traumatic event, the loss is sudden and unpredictable. There was no way to prepare for it, which causes the mind and body to become overloaded with emotions and physical reactions to the event. Following a traumatic event, people will often express concern that they are going crazy, they feel numb, They feel like they aren't really in their own body, and they feel anxious all the time. These reactions, among others, are a normal response to a traumatic event. Everyone given the same circumstances would struggle with the same type of reactions. These reactions do not mean that the person is weak, bad, or crazy, and over time these reactions will likely diminish in intensity. So a few common reactions to crisis are as follows. So if you're experiencing any of the following things, just to reassure you, these are normal types of things that people experience when they have a traumatic event. Anxiety, panic attacks, easily started, anger, agitation, rage, memory loss, nightmares, flashbacks, seeing images of traumatizing events, confusion, irregular heartbeat, skin rashes, fatigue, change in blood pressure, fainting or dizziness, headaches, change in appetite, feelings of hopelessness, feeling of being easily overwhelmed, sadness or depression, increased use of drugs or alcohol. These symptoms may indicate other health problems. Please see a physician if you experience them. So that being said, if you see people around you being really edgy and agitated and acting out, please be patient with them because they may be dealing with really dramatic and traumatic issues that you don't know anything about. So if it would be possible for everyone to be more sensitive and aware at this time, especially around areas where you know traumatic events have happened. And I know traumatic events happen all over the world and all over the country. And like I said, this is a unique time for me, the end of November, because my own personal community has just been so smitten so heavily lately. So these are universal things. You know, there are so many reasons people go through trauma. And, you know, at this holiday season, whether it be like a natural disaster or a mass shooting or acts of violence or so many things, there's so many reasons, can be a health issue. We have veterans, which I'm very passionate about, veterans who are displaced, homeless people. I was just at the Union Rescue Mission last Saturday volunteering there as Princess Jasmine, and you know, that's something that I wanted to bring up too. All of us can do something, no matter who you are, even if you don't have any money, if you don't have anything to donate. Your kindness, your time, a kind gesture, just being aware. Sometimes your smile and your kindness can be extremely helpful beyond what you're aware of. How long will the symptoms last? This is a difficult question to answer. There are a number of things that affect the duration of these symptoms. Some factors include the degree of loss experienced, the age of the person experiencing the trauma, the condition of the person's life prior to the traumatizing event, the person's support system after the event. So yeah, all of these things make a meaningful percentage and difference in how traumatized a person is. So if you know people that already were struggling with a lot of things, and if you know me, you already know I'm going to say this, but it's like when you have things for certain people, things just continue to go wrong, one thing after another, it can get extremely overwhelming. And my goodness, watching your home burn down and everything you have just being gone in a moment's notice. And one thing that's been really striking for me with all of these events is, and these are people I know and love, which just, I haven't even processed. I think a lot of people are still very much in shock. I was volunteering at Pepperdine at the Thanksgiving dinner for the community Thursday, 3 days ago, and um, a lot of people are very much in shock, which is normal. And the thing about this whole event and other people's events, like I said, this is very personal to me right now, but it's very universal in its meanings for everyone. When someone goes through a very traumatic event, it's easy for people to come gather around and rally around the person in the days and even weeks after. But I think sometimes people forget that they need that ongoing support. So it's not something where you just rally around for a few weeks and it's Thanksgiving, it's Christmas, it's New Year's, and then everybody's off to the new year into their new whatever they're doing. And I think it's really important as a community and for you and whoever your friends are that may be being challenged. Please be really aware, have your radar out, and really look for the signs if someone is struggling, because believe me, sometimes it's not easy to tell, and they really, really need to know that somebody is there for them. So you could be that one person. Okay, so real quick, this is super important. How can we minister to someone who has experienced trauma? So really practical things here. Meeting the physical needs, food, obviously food, shelter, clothing, basic things people need to survive. Protect the vulnerable. If you see someone and you know your friends, if they're vulnerable, please, like I said, rally around and protect them and support them. Also from vulnerable situations, people that are in shock or in trauma, put in positions where they need to make important decisions for their life, please step up and be proactive. So easy when you're vulnerable to make bad choices with health choices, insurance, all kinds of things. Like I said, the implications are endless here. Meeting their emotional needs. You can use common sense and know what that means. Listen more than you speak. So it's a big one. Sometimes, obviously, there are not answers to the hard questions they're going to ask. Sometimes just to listen is the most important thing you can do. Just to listen and be a good friend and to be there. Empathize. Grieve with those who grieve. Don't sing songs to a broken heart. So this basically is when people are grieving and mourning, and that's so important, not to try to rush them through the process. Grieving is such a personal experience. It's different for everyone, and there are things people say that sometimes I think they're really well-meaning, but they're just so annoying, and if enough people say these things at you, it can really just make you snap, such as avoid comparison and don't try to explain their loss. So here's one great example. You should be glad that at least you're not as bad off as so-and-so. Very unhelpful. At least you still have your health. At least you still have your car. At least you still have this or that or the other. It's really, for so many people, it's just you hear that enough times when you've just experienced an extremely traumatic loss, and it just grates on you, and it's annoying. It's actually hurtful. So that's why I'm saying, if you're not sure what you're saying or what you're going to say, sometimes the best thing you can do is just be quiet and listen. And, don't trying to say, I understand. That sometimes is just really not the right thing to say sometimes, because there are some things that, unless you've gone through them yourself, they're hollow words, and they're really, honestly, they're just annoying to hear. And I'm not saying how everybody feels about these things, but I'm just saying in generalities. You know, there's things that people say that are cliche. And it's just annoying. It really is. It's like there are better things you can do than these things. Don't try to explain their loss. You know, where we're like, sometimes bad things happen to good people, blah, blah, blah. That, you know, what in the world? How is that helping anybody? It's not. So, these are all very complex issues, so I'm certainly not trying to simplify them or anything, but I just thought it was really important because this was a great thing. Her name is Kathleen Doyle at my church, Vintage Church in Santa Monica. They did a really good job at creating this event immediately after the fires, and I really appreciate they handed these out, and it's so important for the community to be better equipped to help people in trauma, because I don't think most people are equipped. I mean, they just don't know what to do. I think a lot of people would like to be helpful, but I think a lot of people don't know what to do to be helpful. So, this is the last part of it. What will help a person recover from trauma? Time. There are no shortcuts. Staying in relationship with others. Do not isolate. Getting back into a reasonably healthy lifestyle, routine, nutrition, sleep, etc. And once again, I wanna reiterate, everybody's grieving process is deeply personal, and there's no right way. There's no way to define or tell someone how they should be grieving, because it's just a deeply personal process. Contributing to the well-being of others, feeling useful and productive is helpful in the healing process. Resting, not running ragged with activities and busyness. This may seem helpful in the short term, but not in the long term. It will burn you out. And then developing a plan to help. So, getting back to, there's so much I would like to say. I really want to just leave this as just some basic ideas to share with you, because this is an ongoing thing, and I just, if I leave you with one thing to remember, if you guys could please out there just identify your friends and just stay with them. Don't forget them after the holidays are over, because rebuilding their lives is not going to happen in 3 months or 6 months or 9 months. It's just not. And like I said, if you don't feel like you have any skills, or you don't have any talents, you don't think you have anything to offer, I promise you can find something, whether you be volunteering of your time, your effort, your clothes, whatever. If you have time and effort and kindness, and like I said, and I was really not being funny when I said it, for some people who just have a tendency to just say things that are not kind, maybe your best contribution for some people would be just to be quiet. And if you've read my book, then you know I'm a third generation preacher's kid. So I grew up steeply in a hyper religious, hellfire and brimstone family, very dysfunctional, and where I am definitely a person of faith. Nothing irritates me faster than when people hide bad behavior behind the badge of religion. So I'm gonna, if you know me, you know I'm a uniter, so I'm not a divider. It's like I don't have any divisiveness on my social media. I don't allow people to be unkind, and I don't go into religion or politics that lead into trigger issues where people will be hateful and go into just negativity. I don't allow it on my social media. It's not what it's for. But that being said, I have to say, this is not directed at one person, by the way. It's directed at many things, because I've been reading many comments on many feeds during the last few weeks, especially. And where some people are just straight up insensitive, that's one thing. But then when you have people that hide their bad behavior and insensitive, mean, snarky, judgmental, whatever you want to call them, comments behind a badge of religion or religiosity, that just really irritates me to no end. So I just want to let all of you know, if you're out there and life has just crushed you and you're just dealing with a lot, and then you see some comment from some hyper-religious person that's just, banging you over the head, I just want to apologize, first of all, if someone has said anything hurtful to you, and assure you that the moment, and I'm not going to say any particular religion because it's all across the board, this statement, the moment your religion lacks compassion, is unkind, and does not take into account the time people need to grieve and process their losses and be kind and, grieve with those that are grieving, at that moment, you're completely out of line. That's all I'm going to say about that. No, because people say stupid things all the time. We know that. That's just the internet. But if you're out there and you're kind of searching, seeking, whatever, please know that, if that's something you're getting and that's comments that are coming at you and they're hurting you, then, like I said, I didn't make these comments, but I apologize, because it's like no appropriate representative of a decent religion would hurt you. And I apologize if anybody has said anything insensitive to you. If you guys have any resources, please put them in the comments. I started Googling to try and direct people to resources for fire victims, etc., and anything else. Obviously, I always put this in. This is not directed specifically at anybody, but I always have to put this into every single holiday video, because I know at the holidays, if you want to know more about what I think about the holidays and how I feel about being helpful to others and being aware and inviting people in to your holidays, if you have a tradition, and even if you don't have a tradition, just to be aware that people are not left alone and feeling displaced and like they have nowhere to go. And I call them the holiday orphans. If you want to see that out of curiosity, you can jump on my YouTube channel and just go to Raven Faith Holiday Orphan, and there's a 2016 and a 2017. This is the 2018 version, but like I said, this may seem disjointed in the context of this video, but it's very, very important. I'd be remiss if I did not put this up, because it's important. If you or someone you know is struggling, there are so many resources. Vintage Church LA is where I go. They have a lot of resources. The Gathering Place Church in Malibu Presbyterian Church. So many organizations. I know there's more generic things like the Red Cross, but a good place to start to find resources if you're a fire victim or a victim of anything often is these community groups, and then they can direct you to more immediate help. But that being said, if you know anyone that is struggling really hard right now and just needs to talk, number one, I want to let you know you're not alone. And people do care. Really, they really do. And no one should pretend that they know exactly what you're feeling, but this is the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. The number is 1-800-273-8255, and it's suicidepreventionlifeline.org. If you want to screenshot this, save it, send it to somebody. 24 hours a day, there are people there watching. If you are directly impacted by the fires, there are several of the churches that have specific email addresses 24 hours a day monitored for emergency situations. And I'm not saying churches because I want everybody to be religious. I'm just saying, there are really good, caring, loving people that will not judge you, that will help you and want to help you. And I just want to encourage you, please reach out. If you need help, please reach out. I know it can seem completely overwhelming and like nobody understands. Maybe it seems like nobody cares sometimes, or people care for a little while and then they go away and you don't want to be a burden. I get that. I hate asking for help. I hate it. I've just gone through a few years of just pure hell. In fact, this last year has just been crushing. But I have learned that when I need help, I have to ask for help. And fortunately, I have found some good people that are good, healthy people that have helped me to get through some very difficult, challenging times. And that being said, like I said, if you guys know of good resources where people can go to get help for specific things, please feel free to put them in the comments and share so people can know where to go to get help. And, you know, so much more I could say, but I just want to put this out there and let you guys know, please be sensitive, please be kind, please be aware of all the pain people are going through right now. And together, you know, Malibu Strong, that's our hashtag right now. Together we will get through this. And wow, that's it. Just reach out, and like I said, there's so much I want to say. You are, whoever you are out there, you are loved, you are important, you have a hope, you have future. And no matter how dark it looks right now, please hold on and reach out. All right? Thank you.